Awesome. All right, good evening, everybody. The time is 7:01, and we're going to call this meeting to order. With that, could you kindly do roll call?
Councillor Prochnow?
I'm here.
Councillor Purser?
Here.
Councillor Parrish?
Here.
Councillor Miller?
Present.
Councillor Hansey? Councillor Kumro?
Present. Virtually.
All right, thank you. With that, I'm going to ask everybody to stand for a moment of silence to collect your thoughts, and then we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Katie, we have an agenda set before us. Any changes to that agenda?
No changes to agenda, Mr. Mayor.
All right, great. With that, I will need a motion.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay. Katie?
Councillor Purser?
Yes.
Councillor Parrish?
Yes.
Councillor Miller?
Yes.
Councillor Hansey?
Yes.
Councillor Kumro?
Yes.
And Councillor Prochnow?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Great. Thank you very much. We have no proclamations or presentations tonight, so we're going to jump into public participation and our consent agenda. As it relates to public participation, this portion of our meeting is set aside for City Council to listen to comments from the public about items not on tonight's agenda or items that appear on the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are those for which all conditions or requirements have already been met, and they are typically approved with a single motion without separate discussion. We welcome and value your input to help maintain a welcoming, respectful, and productive environment. We ask that there be no clapping, cheering, booing, jeering, or sign holding. This helps ensure that everyone, regardless of their viewpoint, feels comfortable sharing their thoughts. Each speaker will have 3 minutes, and we ask that you begin by stating your name, by giving your name and whether or not you live in the city. If you have any materials you'd like to share with council, please hand them to Katie, who is acting as our city clerk tonight, so that they can be entered into the public record and distributed appropriately. While council will not respond during this portion of the meeting, please know that we are listening, and we greatly appreciate you taking the time to participate in this important process. Also, all our contact information is available on the website, so if anybody would like to have further discussion, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. So with that, I'd like to open up the floor to public comment. And just for clarification, if it's something that's on the action items, there's a chance for public comment there. Don't want to cut you off, but just want to make sure. All right, we will catch it in. We'll make sure we get you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? All right, hearing none, I'm going to close public participation and bring it back to council. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, or comments on anything that is on the consent?
Item C on the consent agenda, there was a question that I wanted to ask if it's possible we can make a strong suggestion about their renewal. I don't know if that needs to be removed or if that can be discussed now.
If it's a question about the application, ask now. If you would like it for discussion, we can pull it off.
And Councillor Prochnow, if I could, I do have a little bit of more background on that. So thank you to both Councillor Prochnow and Councillor Purser for sending a question ahead of time so we can answer during this portion of the agenda. So from our city clerk, Deb Woods, this is in regards to the violation for the in-the-middle liquor license. So the actual violation occurred on June 13th, 2024 under previous ownership. There was a transfer of ownership on the license submitted that in 2024, where a new temporary permit to the new owners was approved on July 29th, 2024. So the current owners of In the Middle Liquors have not had any violation, and therefore the staff recommendation is to renew the liquor license as presented.
Did that
Yeah, it just there's no tips training that has been taken by any of the staff, so it was just going to be a suggestion, not a requirement, but a strong suggestion that since there was a violation, it would be nice to see that training happen.
Yes.
So
And we will recommend that as well.
perfect.
Thank you.
That's all that I had.
That was your concern.
Yes, although I thought that the date was in 2025, so I was just to relook.
We'll give you a moment. No worries. When she's looking at that, anybody else have any questions or concerns about anything that's on consent? No, no worries. Let's make sure we're comfortable with things.
So it was in June 4th, 2025 that the clerk's office was made aware, but it didn't, but the actual
Violation was in
was in
2024.
2024. And
Yeah.
okay, perfect. I just wanted to have that
Yeah.
completely clear. All right. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Thank you.
Todd, are you good? All right. With that, would need a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
First and second, last chance for any questions, comments, concerns? Todd?
No, actually, I was just going to mention to Jared's point with the tips. Isn't tips training mandatory for places that serve alcohol, anyways?
It is not. It is recommended.
It's only recommended. Okay, so
You good, Todd?
I'm good.
All right. Katie?
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Kumro,
Yes.
Counselor Prochnow,
Yes.
Counselor Purser.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Great. Thank you very much. Which now leads us to our public hearing and action items, out of which we have 5. The first one is Resolution 2026-21. As mentioned earlier, for all of these, there will be a chance for public comment. But first item is Resolution 2026-21, a resolution of the Fruita City Council finding approximately 0.35 acres of property located 1925 J Road eligible to be annexed in the city of Fruita. And our city planner, Joe Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, for your time this evening. As the mayor said, we have 5 items on our public hearing and action items agenda tonight. They're all related to 2 kind of joined applications. One is for the annexation of 1925 J Road. The other is for the zoning of that same property. First item is resolution number 2026-21. The application is a request to annex approximately 36.14 acres into the Fruita city limits. The purpose of this resolution is to find the property eligible for annexation. So for the record, it does not actually annex the piece of property. It's just a procedural step that's required by the state of Colorado that the city council finds the property eligible. Legal notice for this specific resolution is driven by state statute. It requires that an advertisement be taken out in the newspaper for 4 consecutive weeks. That was done on the dates listed above. The requirements of state statute for a property to be eligible for annexation stipulate that it must meet the requirements of 1/6 contiguity. This parcel is a little strange in that as a whole, it does not meet the contiguity requirement, but the state does allow for annexation to be done in series. So this is what's referred to as a serial annexation. So this specific resolution is only finding a portion of the property eligible at this time. Landowners must sign an annexation petition in accordance with Section 31B of Article 2 of the state constitution, which the city has received. It's included in your agenda packet for tonight. And an annexation map meeting the requirements of state statute must be provided. That was provided by the applicant, as you can see above. The first serial for this annexation is for the portion of the property shown on the annexation map, and it comprises approximately 0.35 acres. On page 129 of your agenda packet, you'll find a suggested motion. Staff is recommending that the council adopt Resolution 2026-21. And if approved, the resolution will allow the city council to consider ordinance number 2026-10, which would officially annex this portion of the property. Thank you.
So before I bring it back to council, would like to open this up to public comment. If anybody would like to speak on Resolution 2026-21, please come forward. And once again, 3 minutes. Ask that you provide your name and whether or not you're a resident. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Scott Cook. I live at 1945 J Road. I'm the little square on the map up in the corner up there. I'll address both these with one speech, the annexation and the rezoning, if I can. I'll use both terminologies in both of these, so I don't have to waste your time. I'm here to respectfully urge you to vote against the proposed annexation. Oh, I lost my voice. And the accompanying rezoning that would allow higher density housing in the area surrounding my home and my neighbors' homes. All of the surrounding properties are currently 1 acre or more. Allowing this higher density would not be compatible with the existing properties that are around there. Like I said, I'm the smallest one on 1 acre. Everybody else is 6 or larger. So this area has always been a farm rural for a reason. Increasing density will bring more traffic onto the streets, place additional pressure onto already scarce water, as we know, and emergency service that have not yet been sized for this scale of growth, and permanently change the character of a stable residential area, not to mention increased noise and light pollution. Many of us bought our homes with reasonable expectation that the surrounding land would remain consistent with the current plan. Sudden annexation and rezoning undermines that expectation and can negatively affect property values and quality of life for existing residents in that area. I'm not opposed to thoughtful growth in this location, but the particular proposal appears to prioritize rapid density over careful planning and the long-term livability of the area we already call home. I ask that you either reject the annexation and rezoning as currently proposed, or at a minimum, observe current zoning with less density matching the surrounding area. Every subdivision around my area have 1 acre lots, and their proposal is 4 to 8. And that it wouldn't match with everything that's around there. Around the city where it's denser, I can see that, but where we're at, we're rural out there. Thank you for your time and consideration of the concerns of the residents who will live with the consequences of your decision every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Is there anybody else that would like to come up and speak on Resolution 2026-21?
I'm Jennifer Cook, and I live at 1945 J Road. I'll be directly affected by the proposed changes, and I would like to share my concerns. I'm against the annexation and rezoning of the 36 acres behind my house directly attached to my property. 6 years ago, we moved out of the city to this rural area, purposely moving out of subdivision life in preparation for retirement. We knew the zoning was UR 1 to 2. We expected the rural density of 1 to 2 per acre to continue. We did not expect a new zone of dense subdivision to be poured into our lap. Our backyard views of the National Monument will be dramatically affected, if not totally blocked. Adobe Creek runs through there and is a wildlife refuge. The wildlife will be driven out with higher density of people moving in that area. 36 acres will bring 144 to 288 homes, a densely packed subdivision that brings increased traffic, loud night parties, and nonstop barking dogs. This is already happening across J Road to the north with the new subdivision that's over there. There are already water shortages, not only irrigation water, but clean water as well. I think these issues need to be addressed and looked at, slowing the growth to ease the strain of our resources. We moved out to the rural area for quality of life, for a peaceful retirement. I understand developing will happen, but the developer came in and changed the plans. He gets to walk away after making his money. He's not worried about how the quality of our rural life is stripped away because he wants to take advantage of every square foot in each acre. The city will get all the new property tax income from here on out forever. Each additional home is additional property taxes. But we all know it's not all about the money, right? We don't get quality living with packed neighborhoods, too many dogs that people do not understand how to teach when to be quiet, and nonstop traffic limited to 1 or 2 entrances. This is a rural area. We want to keep it that way. And who's going to help me start caring about quality of living? The planned CR 4-8 zoning is not compatible with surrounding properties. Everyone out here has 1 acre or more per home. The new subdivision on the other side of the creek are all 1 to 1+ acre lots. Our neighbors all have multiple acre lots. Adding 4 to 8 homes per acre is not bad. And you may be thinking, just sell your place and move. Well, that's not feasible for us. You see, we have a 3% mortgage that we are working very hard on paying off in the next 10 years so we can retire and enjoy our rural living, gardening, outside activities, and shop projects. My husband and I have blood, sweat, and tears in this house that we built. We would not be able to replace our home with something else of equal value, paying the current 6 to 7% mortgage on a mortgage. It would take much longer to pay off, be a lot more expensive, getting less of a home, all while disturbing our retirement plans.
If you could please finish your thoughts.
There are not places with land for sale. It is all HOA driven subdivisions, which is not what we are interested in. Our current place is very valuable to us. We are being responsible and have done our due diligence planning for retirement. Having this dense subdivision will take every bit of that away from us.
Right.
So I hope you'll reassess to be kept 1 to 2 homes per acre or less. Quality rural living. I do have a couple of pictures of our backyard and the monument and what it would look like.
You could hand those over to Katie would be great. And Jennifer, thank you. Well, she's doing that. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on resolution 2026-21?
And Mr. Mayor, Councilor Kumro is requesting maybe if we can speak into the mic.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe my name is Mallory Reams, and I just wanted to let you guys know that I represent North 25 LLC, the applicant. So I'm just here if there's any questions that you guys might have.
Thank you. All right. Are there any other comments on resolution 2026-21? All right. Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to
Mr. Mayor. Hi, it's Mary Elizabeth
Hi.
Geiger, City Attorney. So just clarification for the public to understand the process here. This first resolution, and again, as Joey pointed out, it is a serial annexation. So it's, part of the property first and then the rest of the property next to get the contiguity. These first 2 resolutions are just for a finding of eligibility to be annexed. Then there will be the ordinances that actually would accomplish the annexation. So there's several steps here. I know it's a little confusing because at the end of the day, it's all one property, but just want folks to understand what each different motion does, if that makes sense.
But also make sure I understand it correctly, Mary Elizabeth, resolution 2026-21 is allowing us to the ability to annex it. But the next thing on the agenda, 2026-10, is the actual ordinance annexing these 0.35. And then we'll do the same thing for the 35.79.
Yes, that's correct. So you first have to find that it's eligible to be annexed,
Right.
because otherwise you couldn't even consider what annexation if it were not
Yes.
eligible. So
Yep.
that's correct. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. With that, I'd like to bring it back to council.
Yeah, so this obviously piece is very interesting spot here on the map, correct? It's this dotted. Can you show us exactly? Yep, where the
Little sliver
right there. And that's a separate piece of the property.
It's been delineated by the applicant's surveyor as the piece that they want to bring into the city first in order to establish contiguity.
Yes, I understand that. I mean, I understand that that's what the reasoning behind that would be. Okay, but it's not like it's not its own.
It's all a single property.
So is the question, I think I know where you're going with this. Like, what happens if we say no to this?
Well, no, I know what happens if we say this. I understand. I'm wondering, how are we allowed to look at this when it's not actually owned when it's not actually a separate, it's like within a different piece. It's basically a piece of the whole. And
I don't ever remember us seeing something like this.
I have not, and I want to be I'm not completely sure how
I can skip ahead a few slides if you'd like. I have the
understand how we're allowed.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like a different process than we've seen it.
Right.
So am I understanding this correctly, that they want to do this little piece first to get the continuity and then do everything else, versus if it was one piece, that would be a problematic?
That's correct. The city did actually annex a piece of property that's jointly owned by the city and the school district last year, serially. So that was done in two parts. So it's something the city has done before. This is the specific language in state statute that allows for this to happen. My understanding is that it's common practice throughout the state. I may defer to Mary Elizabeth's legal expertise on.
I think we had one like this over by Adobe too, didn't we? By Adobe Falls,
Not recall.
a serial.
So then this parcel will not remain separate throughout this entire process once we approve or find that it's eligible. And then if we approve it, then it becomes part of the 36 or 35 acres, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Is this separate for like an easement or something? Or this just was
It's purely a procedural
part of the
step
process?
to meet the requirements of state statute in a way that state statute allows for.
And it meets, in theory, the eligibility requirements because it back ends to something that down below here. What is that road down below? Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm not sure if it's a road, but it's part of the Copper Creek West subdivision.
So where on the south end of that is where Copper Creek West is.
That's correct. Okay. And part of the requirements of state statute, specifically for the annexation map, is that the surveyor has to call out what's part of the city and what's part of Mesa County, which they've done.
And then Copper Creek West, and what is that zoned?
It's zoned CR.
You mentioned, I believe you mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, that doing this all together would present a problem, which is why we're doing it this way. Did I characterize that incorrectly?
I think it would be not consistent with state statute to do it all.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not an issue with the size of the parcel or how the parcel is zoned or any of that stuff. It's just in line with the process of the state statute. Okay.
It's purely to establish eligibility for annexation.
Okay.
Little strip meets the continuity where the rest of it would not without that little strip already being.
Right. And like, I'm not a surveyor. I imagine they could have designed a differently shaped parcel. But that's correct.
I would love if we could get you, Joey, or somebody else to say, yeah, this is really common practice. This isn't just a loophole that we're looking at here.
So Mary Elizabeth Geiger, City Attorney. So Councilor Purser, I mean, I don't want to say like this happens all the time because every situation is unique, but it is common practice, or this is a way that parcels that maybe as a whole don't have the 1/6 continuity that's required to be eligible because of their size, right? So, once you start doing like that, you might lose that continuity if for the whole parcel based upon where it's located vis-a-vis county land. But so what you can do is annex part of the parcel. And I guess one way to think about this is if you annex this first part and for some reason didn't annex the second part, then there would have to be a subdivision process to create a legally separate parcel. So that would be part of, like, I would call that the land use process, if that makes sense. But as Joey pointed out earlier, you guys did do this with that jointly owned school district city parcel. It did not, it also as a whole did not meet the continuity requirements. And so you did a serial annexation. You did the first part piece that did, and those were not separate parcel, legally separate parcels, but they were treated, separately for purposes of allowing for that serial annexation. Does that answer your question?
It does. Yeah, those were, even though I had forgotten about that, so I really appreciate the comparison. Those were bigger pieces, so like this point, it just feels much like, again, just like a.
And I think
but yes, I understand that it's the same thing. Thank you.
Sure. And I think as Joey pointed out, they could have, created the sliver differently, right? Or bigger. That could be a question if you want to ask the applicant when you get to the consideration of the ordinances, if you do find this eligible for annexation. But I would say it's kind of neither here nor there. That because it does have the 1/6 continuity, and it may be that that's how they had to draw it in order to get that for this first piece, and then allow then for it to be continuous for the second piece. So.
And it's allowable to draw it this way and to move this direction. That's
yeah. I mean, you can
very common, but a practice that is done.
That's correct. And again, every parcel is differently shaped and has different continuity, issues depending on where it sits. So I'm not a surveyor, but I would imagine that factored into how these were drawn.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Just to make sure I'm on par with this. So really the statutes allow for this to be done in a series because it enables the process to be more efficient by doing something like this. Whereas if it didn't allow this, what would happen is then they would have to split off the parcel. They could legally split the parcel, then have one of the parcels could meet the rules, and then subsequent property would be able to do it. So really it's meeting the nature of the ordinances, yet saving resources for property ownership.
You could characterize it that way, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just the property next to it is already zoned CR. And, this is sometimes a challenge, I think, of what we do, which is they meet the rules and the regulations that have been established, and there's the precedent.
Yeah. I just was curious about the.
Well, and again, it's a couple of steps because we're talking right now about eligibility, which I do, all these questions have really gone to that, right? Can you do this? Is it okay to do the smaller parcel than the next one?
Right.
Then
they meet the requirements for that. They meet the 1/6.
They meet the 1/6. So they meet the statutory, provisions to be eligible to ask for annexation. I kind of think of it that way. So first you got to ask, can I do this? Yes or no. If the answer is yes, then the next question is, will you allow me to do this? And that's the decision about whether or not to annex.
So thank you, Mary Elizabeth, to the point. So the first question is, do we agree that it is, council, do we find it that it is eligible to be annexed?
Yeah, that's what this.
Yep. Todd, I want to make sure we don't leave you out of the conversation. So if you've got something, please speak up. And if nobody else has anything.
Not for this.
Okay.
This is really common up in mountain property. I saw a lot of this up in Central City, and so this isn't very uncommon at all. At least from what I've seen in the past when I was a realtor. So, so I don't, and what we're talking about is just doesn't meet the eligibility. And we're not making any decision at this point.
All right, with that, if somebody cares to make a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 2026-21, a resolution of the Fruita City Council finding approximately 0.35 acres of property located at 1925 J Road eligible to be annexed into the city of Fruita.
Good. We have a first and a second. Any other questions or comments on the eligibility? I don't see anything from Todd. So with that, Katie?
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Kumro,
Yes.
Counselor Prochnow,
Yes.
Counselor Purser, Counselor Parrish.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Great. Thank you very much. And that dovetails into ordinance 2026-10, a second reading, an ordinance annexing approximately 0.35 acres of property located at 1925 J Road into the city of Fruita. And our city planner, Joe Morris, you're back up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is, again, related to the applicant's application to annex in total 36.14 acres into the city of Fruita. This portion is known as the 1925 J Road Serial 1 annexation. Legal notice for this application was done in the form of postcards that were sent to all property owners within a 350-foot buffer zone. In addition to the postcards, the site was posted, the Civic Center was posted, an ad was taken out in the newspaper, so all legal notice was done in accordance with local and state law. The future land use map contained in the city's comprehensive plan does show that this property is located within the city's urban growth boundary, meaning that at least since 2020, the city has been planning to eventually annex this property into the city. You can see here the dashed line represents the city's urban growth boundary, and it is within that boundary. It is also adjacent to Adobe Creek, which is represented in green on the future land use map, and in the Frost Plan, which is the city's parks, health, recreation, open space, and trails master plan. There is a proposed primary trail that runs along Adobe Creek, and the annexation of this property would help the city achieve that goal.
Joey, sorry to interrupt you. This looks like this is more for ordinance 2026-11 and not the 2026-10. Is it the same presentation?
It's just, it might be.
If it's identical, that's fine. It's just, it's talking about the whole, and our resolution is about the 0.35.
And
I
this is
just to be transparent.
Yeah, that is an important distinction. When we look at serial annexations, we typically do try to approach it comprehensively as what the effect would be if both serials were annexed, because the assumption from staff is if council approves the first serial, their intention then is to approve the second serial. So is the intention behind designing the presentation that way.
Thank you for the clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. In total, there are 9 criteria to consider when examining an application for an annexation. Staff has gone into greater detail in the staff report, and I'm more than happy to answer questions about the specificity of each of the criteria. But in general, they are summarized above. The parcel must meet the requirements of state statutes, which with the previous resolution, council has found it does. It must be within the city's urban growth boundary, and it can be effectively served with city services. Staff is under the impression that it meets all 9 criteria. We touched on this briefly, but the contiguity requirement from state statute does allow parcels to be annexed in series. The applicant has provided 2 annexation maps for each serial annexation. On the left is the portion of the property under consideration now, and on the right is the next serial for this annexation. No reviewer expressed concerns with the annexation. Staff has not received any written public comments at this time. At their August 11th, 2026 public hearing, the Planning Commission recommended approval to the City Council of the annexation by a vote of 6-0. On page 148 of your agenda packet, you'll see a suggested motion by staff recommending adoption of ordinance 2026-10 because it meets the requirements of local and state law. And next steps, if approved, the annexation will become effective 30 days after adoption of the ordinance, And adoption of the ordinance will also allow the city council to consider the 1925 J Road Serial 2 annexation. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to open up to public comment. Would anybody care to talk or speak on ordinance 2026-10? All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to council for questions, comments to either staff or Mallory. Oh, Todd?
So Joey,
Joe, you just might as well stay up there.
Oh,
you there?
I'm here.
So I understand that we annex this, if we were to annex this 35 or 0.35 acres, I know that's going to complete this whole acreage lot so that it allows the builder to build on this. And I heard the citizens' concerns. What are they looking at for like number of doors? And when I say number of doors, that means residences.
Right.
So
hold on. It just is that Mary Elizabeth, I just want to make sure we're not going out of bounds on that.
I do want to just clarify that the annexation of the parcel itself does not entitle the property owner to build anything on the property. It simply brings it under the jurisdiction of the city of Fruita. What eventually does allow the property owner to develop the property is the zoning, which is the last item on tonight's public hearing action items agenda.
Well, I get that part, but the reason I'm asking that question is if that's the last action item, then why did you have in this slide that public services such as emergency services can already serve that if it's going to be annexed? Like
that is one of the
it doesn't mix to me if you're already presenting that aspect of it, when if later on down the line you're going to talk about something.
So the emergency services and being able to provide those services is a criteria of annexation that's not necessarily related to urban development of the property. Say, for example, a crime happened on the property before it were to develop, it would be under the city of Fruita's jurisdiction at that point. So the city of Fruita Police Department would respond. I believe even if it's not annexed, and I believe this is stated in the staff report, that City of Fruita Police would still respond even if it remains in the county because it's a part of our jurisdiction.
Yeah. I think another thing to consider, and this is Henry, Planning and Development Director. Another thing to consider with this criteria is if the city were to need to annex an entire neighborhood with multiple parcels that already had dwelling units on them, could we efficiently and effectively serve that neighborhood with those services, which the city of Fruita has had to do with the Kingsview subdivision, obviously a number of years ago. But it is a requirement that the state also asks cities to contemplate as well. And so we baked it in our land use code. So with this annexation, obviously, like you pointed out, it's 0.35 acres, wouldn't necessarily have much impact on the police and other services that the city provides, along with the additional acreage that we will get into later. Is it's a vacant piece of ground. So those impacts wouldn't necessarily be there. But there are criteria in our code as we move forward that will also contemplate those services as well, like utilities and stuff like that, based on any sort of development plan that the city has land use authority to exercise.
Right.
And
that makes sense too. And I'm just, if I could finish my thought, Mary
Sure.
Elizabeth, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. I'm just looking downrange, then we're focusing on this little piece, but I'm just like looking at the whole big picture of it. And that's the only reason I'm asking the question. I'm not trying to be confrontational in it. I'm just trying to see the bigger picture of it and the downrange issue of it. if the downrange makes sense to you. So, Mary Elizabeth, thank you for allowing me to do that.
Sure, absolutely, Councilor Kimmerow. So I think also that is one piece to remember, is that no development plan is being approved here when you annex or even when you're zoned. Those just allow you to come under the city's jurisdiction for land use purposes. So you would now be having to follow the city code. And as Henry was pointing out, when someone files a land use application for development, then and it shows like this is going to be the actual density, this is how many lots, etc., then they have to like prove that up again, right? Because that would be so in this instance, this is just determining, as he said, it's within the urban growth boundary, which is already provided by provided police services by the city, and then whether or not city sewer could be extended. There's it's adjacent to city land that's already in the city, so that's part of it. So there are multiple steps, before after annexation, before property actually gets developed, and multiple opportunities for the public to participate, at that time when there's actually a fully baked development plan.
So thumbs up from Todd. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Then I would need
this really is just a black and white process when it comes to the resolution and the ordinance, that it doesn't meet the criteria or not. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody care to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I propose we adopt ordinance 2026-10, annexing approximately 0.35 acres of property located at 1925 J Road, known as the 1925 J Road Serial 1 annexation into the city of Fruita.
Thank you.
Second?
First, second. Any other questions or comments? Todd, if you've got one, speak up. Okay. All right, with that, Katie.
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Kumro,
Yes.
Counselor Prochnow,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Great, thank you very much. Next item is Resolution 2026-22, a resolution of the Fruita City Council finding approximately 35.79 acres of property located at 1925 J Road eligible to be annexed in the city of Fruita. 1925 J Road Serial 2 annexation. And our city planner, Joe Morris, you're back up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As the mayor stated, the next item is resolution number 2026-22. This is also related to the applicant's request for an annexation into the city of Fruita. And this is the second part of the serial annexation. So this would find the remainder of portion of the property eligible for annexation. Legal notice was done concurrently with the legal notice for the first resolution. State requires that an ad is taken out in the newspaper for 4 consecutive weeks, which were done on the dates shown above. And like the previous resolution, state statute requires that the parcel have a 1/6 contiguity with the city. The city has to receive an annexation petition, and an annexation map must be provided. You can see above the annexation map that was provided for this resolution. It is, once again, the second part of this annexation, and it comprises approximately 35.79 acres. On page 196 of your agenda packet, you'll see a suggested motion by staff recommending that the council adopt Resolution 2026-22, finding approximately 35.79 acres of property located at 1925 J Road eligible to be annexed into the city of Fruita. And if approved, this will allow the city council to consider ordinance number 2026-11, which would then annex the remainder portion of the property. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to open up Resolution 2026-22 for public comment. Would anybody like to come and speak at this time? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to council. So once again, we're just looking at the eligibility of the annexation of this property. Any questions? Todd, are you good? All right. With that, would need a motion.
Move that the city of Fruita find approximately 35.79 acres of property located at 1925 J Road eligible to be annexed into the city of Fruita.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second.
Be mentioned in that motion. 2026-22.
All right, so noted that the motion is for resolution 2026-22. Thank you. All right, we have a first and a second. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none.
Counselor Kumro,
Yes.
Counselor Prochnow,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
and Counselor Hansi.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Katie. That takes us to item D, ordinance 2026-11, a second reading, an ordinance annexing approximately 35.79 acres of property located at 1925 J Road into the city of Fruita. Here to present our city planner, Joe Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is in relation to the proposed annexation of 1925 J Road. This ordinance would annex the remaining 35.79 acres of the property. Legal notice was done in the form of postcards that were sent to all property owners within the buffer zone shown above, as well as the site was posted, the Civic Center was posted, and an advertisement was taken out in the newspaper. As discussed previously, the future land use map does support this parcel for inclusion or annexation within the city of Fruita, due to the fact that it is within our urban growth boundary, and it will also allow the city to move towards the getting the Adobe Creek primary trail constructed, which is a goal contained in the city's parks master plan. There are 9 criteria in total to consider, which have already been discussed, but they're summarized above. And in general, it has to meet state statute, it must be within the urban growth boundary, and the city must be able to effectively provide services to the property. State statute does allow for serial annexation, so annexing a single piece of property in 2 steps, which this is, and this is the second part of that. The applicant did provide annexation maps demonstrating that contiguity. No reviewer expressed concerns with the annexation. Staff has not received any written public comments at this time. And at their August 11th, 2026 public hearing, the Planning Commission considered this application and recommended approval to the City Council by a vote of 6-0. On page 215 of your agenda packet, you'll find a suggested motion. Staff is recommending that the City Council adopt Ordinance 2026-11, completing the annexation of 1925 J Road. And next steps, if approved, the annexation will be effective 30 days after the ordinance is adopted, and the city will have 90 days to zone the property according to state statute. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to open up for public comments on ordinance 2026-11. Anybody like to make comments at this time? All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public comments and bring it back to council. Questions, concerns?
I just would, Shannon this is probably to you. I don't know for a fact. When staff recommends that it meets all the criteria and particularly the emergency services can cover, how's that process work? What's the conversation look like? How do we decide? How is it decided that is a go?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So anytime we have a land use application like this one, we have the opportunity for both internal and external departments to review and provide comments on the land use applications. And as we go through this, we often communicate with our partners at Lower Valley Fire Department, who's one of the review commenters on actual development applications, but also our police department. We often plan with them throughout the year what their needs are, and we often tell them, this is where we anticipate growing in the next, 2, 4, 6, 10 years. And we allow them to weigh in on these applications as they are received. So usually when we get these, we open it up to our partners and give them the opportunity to provide, whether it's Ute Water, Lower Valley Police Department, even Mesa County as well. Mesa County actually allows us the opportunity to provide comment on their applications as well, too, which is great. Of course.
There's a page in the packet, and I just want to be clear on its intent, but there's a page in the packet that actually does show all sorts of lots and different parts and pieces.
What are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking in the bottom right-hand corner, it says 242, which, yeah, shows 242 in the full packet. There's not an actual development plan,
Correct.
which is what it has been stated. This is just an example of what it could look like if we were to do something.
Correct. And this was part of the applicant's actual application. As part of that application, they're required to hold a neighborhood meeting with members of the surrounding community before actually submitting. Then they have to provide minutes from that meeting. This was a plan that was shown during that meeting, and I believe that's why the applicant included it as part of their minutes. But it's by no means approved by staff, and the public will have further opportunity to comment on any eventual development.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Todd?
No, I think I've commented enough on this.
Okay. With that, would need a motion.
I move that we adopt ordinance 2026-11, annexing approximately 35.79 acres of property located in 1925 J Road, known as the 1925 J Road Serial 2 annexation into the city of Fruita.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any other questions or comments? Todd?
No.
All right. All right, with that, first, second, Katie?
Counselor Prochnow,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Kumro.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much. Takes us to our last action item, ordinance 2026-12. This is a second reading, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Fruita by zoning approximately 36.14 acres of property located at 1925 J Road to a community residential zone, 1925 J Road rezone. City Planner Joe Morris, you are up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you stated, this is an action item for ordinance number 2026-12, which would, in accordance with what the applicant is applying for, zone the property, which was just annexed, to a community residential zone. It is currently zoned under Mesa County zoning rules as Urban Residential Reserve, or URR. Legal notice for this application was done the same way as for the application. Postcards were sent to all property owners within the buffer zone shown above. The site was posted, an advertisement was taken out in the newspaper, and the Civic Center was posted. So all legal notice was done in accordance with local and state law. The future land use map contained in the city's comprehensive plan does identify this property as appropriate for residential density at 4 to 8 dwelling units per acre. Again, this doesn't reflect the current conditions on the ground, but this reflects what the city's plan is for the area. You can see it is bounded to the south by the Copper Creek West subdivision, which is a community residentially zoned piece of property. And the applicant is the same as the developer, so it is very likely that it will develop in a manner consistent with that subdivision. You can also see on the slide above an aerial image of what the area looks like today. It's largely agricultural land and residential land. Staff does not anticipate any compatibility issues that would be disproportionate or severe, which is what the language in the land use code states as the criteria for compatibility. And I wanted to talk a bit about the comprehensive plan and what is meant by the residential 4 to 8 dwelling units per acre designation. It's a land use category that is specifically intended for undeveloped areas where public infrastructure and services are available and proximal. The land use is also recommended for developed or semi-developed areas that are built out at a minimum of 2 units an acre. In areas that are currently built out at below the minimum density of this zone, it is expected that the minimum density, 4 units an acre, is achieved when redevelopment occurs. And this plan does recognize that many already developed areas will remain in their current form for decades to come. This is contrasted with the purpose of the community residential zone, which is a legal designation, whereas the land designation contained in the comprehensive plan is a guiding designation. But the purpose of the CR zone is to allow for moderate density, detached single-family residential neighborhoods with the inclusion of other housing types such as attached dwelling units, for example, apartments and townhomes. Innovative neighborhood design is encouraged in the zone district to provide opportunities for housing diversity. This area is served by public utility infrastructure and is appropriate for density of 4 to 8 dwelling units per acre. So the community residential zone that the applicant is requesting directly corresponds to the land use designation contained in the city's comprehensive plan. In total, there are 5 criteria to consider. None of them, or all of them, will never apply to a single application. The 3 that do are included above. Zoning has to be compatible with surrounding land uses. It has to be consistent with the master plan. And in this case, it has to be incidental to an annexation application. No reviewer expressed concerns with the zone request. Staff has not received written public comments at this time. And at their August 11th, 2026 public hearing, the Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of the requested zoning designation by a vote of 5-1. On page 259, you'll find a suggested motion by staff recommending that the City Council adopt Ordinance 2026-12, amending the official zoning map by zoning this property to a community residential zone. And if approved, the rezone will become effective 30 days after adoption of the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. With that, before we bring it to council, I'd like to open it up to public comment. Is there anyone that would like to talk about ordinance 2026-12? Please come on up. If you would like to speak, I ask that you come up to the microphone. And once again, for the record, please state your name and whether or not you're a resident.
I'm Jennifer Cook, and
Please speak into the microphone.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm Jennifer Cook, and a resident of the county or the city. I'm a county resident.
Thank you.
The zoning is densely as it is what I'm against. I live right there attached to the property. I hope we are able to keep this at 1 to 2 homes per acre or less. I believe that this is not, CR 4 to 8 is not compatible with the surrounding areas. According to the map, it's only a little bitty portion down there, and that's even a newer subdivision that they've just put in the last couple of years as well. And this other part of it is a lot larger area, and it's not compatible with the surrounding properties that are attached to the requested zoning area.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any other public comment at this time? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close public comment and bring it back to council. If we have any questions for Joe or Mallory Reams, who's here.
I have a couple questions.
Please.
I totally understand the challenges of development coming around you. I currently have, or soon will have, 12 homes be built around me. And so I get the losing some elbow space. I just have some questions just for like process of full development, because I think that helps. I know we're talking specifically right now about zoning, but I think it's important to understand the whole process because I think that helps with transparency and understanding. So the first question is, can you just talk about the urban or the growth boundaries of the city, like the difference between city boundaries and the growth boundaries? And can you also address how we've changed it over the last little bit, because it has shrunk. We shrunk it purposely, right? If you could just talk about that history.
Yeah. So to get to the difference between the city boundary and the growth boundary, the city boundary is what is currently within our corporate municipal limits that we have basically land use jurisdiction over and taxing authority. Our urban growth boundary is a plan for growth and development within the city. basically delineating which lands we're planning to allow to be annexed into the city at a certain point in time when they more than likely, 99% of the time, choose to be annexed. In the previous iteration of the comprehensive plan, I believe there was some land to the north of, I think it's L Road, that was included within that urban growth boundary, and with the most recent update, that was disincluded within the urban growth boundary. So the city's no longer planning to grow north of L Road.
And we even pulled it in from the east as well, did we not?
It's been a while since I've looked at it, but
We reduced the amount of acreage in our comp plan from the 2010 version by approximately 700 acres. And so with that came kind of an analysis of where we were planning our infrastructure improvements over time and taking all of those things into consideration. And, you know, geographical areas like the Adobe Wash, you know, is it going to be simple to get sewer service over there? Not likely. And so where do we want to focus kind of the growth of the future growth of the city of Fruita? We kept it, you know, on the west side of the Adobe Creek Wash, which we had seen kind of activated with Copper Creek West and Iron Wheel. So yeah, we retracted a little bit and kind of refocused in other areas that made sense.
Just last set of questions goes around. Just so tonight we've done eligibility to be annexed. We did just vote on annexation. Now we're talking about rezone. What's the process? What are the different big steps before people can start putting shovel in the ground? Just to talk about that.
yeah, so for any development of the property, developers are typically required to bring infrastructure to the property. We're not going to let someone plot a piece of land that's not connected to a public road, for example. And before they're allowed to start doing that, they have to seek development entitlements from the city. What that entails is before they even submit an application, they have to have a meeting with city staff to discuss requirements and process steps. After that meeting, they will have to hold another neighborhood meeting, and they'll have to invite members of property owners within that 350-foot buffer zone, which is the same buffer zone that gets noticed for the annexation, to that meeting. And the developer at that point will then have to share their development proposal with those neighbors. At that time, members of the neighborhood will be allowed to provide comment at that meeting. And once that meeting is concluded, the developer can then submit a land development application to staff, which will be reviewed administratively based on the city's land use code. So a very black and white process about what's allowed and what isn't. Once staff receives that application, we'll determine whether or not it's a complete application. And if it is, we will then do another round of notification to all of the property owners within that 350-foot buffer zone, which includes sending postcards, posting the property, posting the civic center, and taking an ad out in the newspaper as required by that land use code. The developer's application also gets put on the city's website, so neighbors can review the application themselves at home and submit comments to city staff at their discretion. If the application is found to meet the requirements of the land use code, the developer will enter into a subdivision improvements agreement, basically providing a financial guarantee to ensure that that infrastructure actually gets built. And once that's done and the city engineer signs their construction plans, they're essentially allowed to start building.
And at any point during this process, any community members can call up the city and talk on the phone or come in and discuss and understand the processes further. Yeah. Thank you.
We encourage it.
I'm just going to ask some questions, and I'm directionally challenged. So if I get my north, south, east, west, please correct me. So when I look at this property to the south, there's a plat there that's zone CR on that kind of smaller section. To the west, that is all still Mesa County.
Correct.
And then to the right, we've got the creek, and then That's also Mesa County, correct?
Correct.
All right. When did the property to the south, do you happen to know when that got zoned CR, how long that's been?
Fairly recently, a couple of years.
Yeah, 2022, 2023 timeframe.
So I think where I'm struggling with is, I understand they meet that one section at below, and there's consistency there. To the east, those are larger lots. And then to the west, right now that is still agricultural. And then kind of to the north, there's that little like U cutout. That's also agricultural at this point.
I would say the properties to the north have more of an urban. I wouldn't call them agricultural because it's a Mesa County subdivision.
Right.
That's that.
So they're
1 to 2
1 to
acres.
2 per, okay.
Correct.
I'm just starting to question is that little section in terms of, is that appropriately enough for the zoning of the CR in terms of matching?
I have similar thoughts and questions to that, and I was curious if there's ever a condition to something like this where, like, yes, to X point of property, it could be zoned this way, and then to the. I mean, I really don't know. I'm asking. Chunk it up. Yeah, that's not something that's possible.
So, Mary Elizabeth Geiger again, city attorney. This is a tough one, I think, because really, the city has no jurisdiction over the county's, land within the county and vice versa, right? So when looking at compatibility with surrounding zoning, the focus is really on surrounding city zoning because that is going to be what controls this property as it's annexed. And I know that sounds a little strange, but there's obviously a difference, right, between urban zoning and county zoning as far as density. I mean, things are just more dense when they're located within a municipality for a variety of reasons. And so, if it was always looking just at what's around, surrounding the annexed property in the county, it would be in a way almost impossible to create urban zone districts on newly annexed property because it's always going to be more dense. And there's always, when you are near the urban growth boundary, a bit of conflict, unfortunately, because you are adjacent to land that can be, is eligible for annexation. So that doesn't totally answer your question, Councilor Purser. You guys did, and Joey, step in if I'm remembering this, but we recently did have a parcel that you guys rezoned that had a variety of zone districts, if you recall, within the parcel. And some of that was trying to address a little bit this issue of creating a buffer, to some county property that was adjacent there too. You have an application, and Joey, please, again, or Henry, jump in if I'm saying this incorrectly, but you have an application for specific zone district. So I'm not sure that notice has been properly provided to change that. A property owner can always come in and ask for a rezone, even once it's zoned the first time. So I don't know if that kind of got to what your question was or not.
I mean, yes, it did. And again, you reminded me of that property was on 17.5 road, and it was, there were different zones within that application. So
correct.
Makes
and that
realize it is possible.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
And again, just a reminder, zoning only provides the what can happen. It's the development application that will set forth what is going to happen. So just because a property is zoned a certain way doesn't necessarily mean it gets developed to the maximum density that might be allowed.
May or may not.
Correct.
if I could add just maybe a little bit more context about what the mayor kind of tried to outline or create a kind of a mental map of the area. We're dealing with the Mesa County's URR zone district, which is the urban residential reserve. And so if you have a large piece of property under the county's jurisdiction, you can subdivide multiple parcels, like 1 acre, 2 acre parcels, but then you have to leave a reserve lot. This is an example of a reserve lot laid out for future development. And it just so happens that it worked out well enough that the city has this portion of the property within the urban growth boundary and the other portion that was subdivided earlier this year without our notice on the other side of Adobe Creek Wash is outside of the urban growth boundary, but in the planning influence area, in which we have established an kind of communication with the county that says, hey, if there's anything that happens in this part of the map, this planning influence area plus the urban growth boundary, like we'd really like to know about it, just in case there are some things that priorities of the city of Fruita council and our comp plan could address ahead of time. This application for annexation and zoning was actually delayed so that that plat could get recorded. The development improvements could get signed off by the county staff, and that the parcel could essentially be carved apart, so to speak, that like a portion of this doesn't lay outside of the urban growth boundary and then a portion is inside the urban growth boundary. And the same thing goes for the property to the north that was explained on the north side of J Road. There are 1 to 2 acre parcels on the north side of that. It's nearly built out. But this was an example of another portion of the reserve lot that was set aside for a later time. There are a number of these placed within the county that the reserve lot is going to be very, very difficult to get to. And this one just so happens that kind of it really just made sense. It locked in with the urban growth boundary and existing kind of infrastructure development with Copper Creek to the south.
To the west and the south is also in our urban growth boundary.
Correct.
If I could also make some distinctions about why that annexation or rezoning on 17.5 Road was a little weird, because that is more outside the realm of normality than, for instance, a serial annexation. That was a request by the property owner to zone the property that way in response to certain feedback they received at their neighborhood meeting. When staff was reviewing that application, we weren't able to support it necessarily because of a compatibility issue. It was more a topographical and geographic reasoning why the zoning could be supported.
Other questions? Todd? If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
I don't think.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted myself. This is what I was talking about with the downrange issue. Is you know, now we're at the 4 to 8 dwelling units, which would put 140 to 280 if you look at a 35 acre lot. You know, I mean, I understand there's going to be roads in there and stuff, but so I get what the residents are talking about when they come up and talk. What I'm surprised by, and I think Joey pointed out in his presentation, is that there were no written comments regarding anything against this. So yeah, this is that downrange issue where, you know, everything rolls down to it.
If there's no other questions or comments, we would need, if we're going to proceed, we would need a motion.
Well, sorry, Mayor. The one last thing I did have to say The one last thing I did have to say was the planning commission voted 5-1 on this. So there was someone that did dissent.
Yes. You done, Todd?
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry.
Okay. It's a little harder when you're on Zoom to
Yeah, I know.
get that. All right. With that, would somebody like to make a motion?
Move to adopt ordinance 2026-12, amending the official zoning map of the city of Fruita by zoning approximately 36.14 acres of property located at 1925 J Road to a community residential zone.
Second.
All right. We have a first and a second. This is last chance for questions, comments, concerns. All right. Seeing none. Katie?
Counselor Parrish?
Yes.
Counselor Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Hansi?
Yes.
Counselor Kumro?
Yes.
Counselor Prochnow?
Yes.
Counselor Purser?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Right, thank you very much. With that, we have nothing on our administrative agenda, which moves us into our city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, for the opportunity to present. Just a few updates for you tonight. So first thing, you may have noticed I put a tentative hold on your calendar for Friday, September 24th, 2026 at 4 p.m. So if everything goes well, we're planning on having the banners installed on top of the co-op tower by then, and we were planning on doing a ribbon cutting for them as well. So more information to come on that very soon, but that is the kickoff to Fruita Fall Fest, so we could move it earlier if needed, but we thought it'd be a really cool opportunity to celebrate the new banners on the silo and then head over and enjoy Fruita Fall Fest for the weekend as well. So everything that I've heard is we are on track and they're done or close to being done, printed, and installation should begin sometime next month. And if you remember for our 150, 250, we were going to get someone to do the printing of the t-shirts for that event. Unfortunately, the person we generally use for that was out of town. So we're trying to get her back for this. And then we'll actually probably print the new designs on the shirts and hand them out at Fruita Fall Fest, which I think it would be good. I think it's going to work out. I hope so. Our marketing communications coordinator on Ammon is online, so hopefully he doesn't just text me and tell me it's not going to work out, but we think hopefully it is. The telescope that's also going to be at the Mulberry Plaza, where you can look up and see all the flowers that were painted by our residents throughout Fruita, is on the way too, and hopefully that will be installed at the plaza as well. This is a really cool telescope. It's actually been on top of the Rockefeller Center in New York City and the Empire State Building as well. So we bought used, but thought it would be
To put quarters in? Or?
that's a great question. Yeah, I can double check, but it's on its way and really excited about that. So we'll put that right facing towards the tower on the south end of the Mulberry Plaza and be able to hopefully find your flower once the banners are up. So really looking forward to that. Speaking of artwork, last Thursday, our new artwork on the downtown restroom was installed. I hope that everyone got a chance to go take a look at that. I think it looks great. Printed on aluminum, which is different than what we normally do, but it looks really good on that side. So those are our Do Fruita Right principles. So you can see the artwork on the west side of the bathroom. The piece was created by a local artist, and it really just gives visitors and residents tips on how to enjoy the area and recreate responsibly and enjoy our surrounding areas as well. So very happy with how that turned out. That was one that was funded through our marketing and promotion efforts this year. So more to come on artwork downtown as well. But this is the first of a few pieces that will be coming up, as I'm sure we'll hear in council reports and actions as well. Next Friday, we have a very, very busy Friday as well. I want to put this on your calendar. So we have the Chalk the Block event at Mulberry Plaza, the Fruita Fourth Friday. And then we have movies in the park, our first movies in the park as well. So Little Giants will be playing, which is a great movie. That was when I was growing up. I was watching that. Will be next Friday after all of that. So should be great. And there'll be live music at Fruita Fourth Friday and everything else. So should be really a fun Friday night. And then finally, I did want to point out for our workshop next week, we have a few items. So as council requested, we will be discussing the municipal judge hiring process. So our call for people who are interested, letters of interest to submit was posted online and also on the Carlisle Municipal League's website, the Municipal Court Judges Association website as well this week. So we will begin receiving those letters soon. And once we receive those and it closes, we'll actually send those over to council. But we will talk about the specific process next week so we can identify dates for council to make that, to do interviews and then eventually hire a municipal judge. Also, we have our two interns, Jordan and Kayla, will be presenting on a B City presentation. Joey Morris, our planner, will also be talking about community and public outreach efforts for the Water Smart element update for our comprehensive plan and housing needs assessment, which is something that we're actually required to do. So we're going to give you a quick update on that, but then also discuss kind of our strategies for public outreach. And then finally, you've been getting some emails on some of our planning and building fees recently. So after Henry gets done with his son's baseball game, he's going to join us late. We're going to wrap up the night with talking all things planning and building fees. So if you have any questions, should be an exciting latter half of the meeting. So looking forward to that. But that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Great, which takes us to council reports and action items. And why don't we kick it back to you with the discussion on livability, mission safety, municipal request?
Yeah, absolutely. So at our last meeting, two of our Livability Commission members shared that they're hosting an event in conjunction with the Mesa County Regional Transportation Planning Office and Family Health West, a bike safety event that will take place at Shellady Elementary School a week from Saturday. So Livability Commission requested $1,300 in funding to fund merchandise for the events, helmets, stuff like that. And we actually have funded board and commission projects and events in the past. We have a line item in the city council's budget for board and commission. So just give the council an opportunity to discuss that request, and staff recommends that you give us the green light to move forward with those funding. It doesn't have to be done formally through resolution. It's already appropriated. So just as we've done in the past. Yeah, we need a thumbs up. Yeah, when we had the downtown advisory board come in and request, council did the same thing. So thumbs up or thumbs down would be great on that item. Sure.
How much is in the budget line?
2,500.
This
Yeah,
is a large portion.
it is. Yeah.
Which is why I wanted to make sure we chatted about it. Actually, I mean, at our last meeting, we talked about chatting about it because let's just say every board wants to come ask for X amount of money.
Yeah.
Like then could reappropriate.
We definitely could. And I would encourage that. You know, we don't pull from this a lot, which is unfortunate. So it's, if we did have every board come and apply, then I would recommend, if it's for good reasons, that we just appropriate additional funds for it. We ran into this. I'm sorry. That's good. All right.
That's a bad reason.
Conservation might have some sketchy requests. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, you never know. So, yes. We ran into this last year where we were very excited. So we actually spent down all of our mini grants in our tourism fund, like super early. So we went back to council. We asked for additional funds. We're like, hey, I think we're going to spend all of them. We didn't get any more. So I think staff would recommend moving forward. And if we get more, we would definitely encourage it and hope that they come and share that. If we have to move money around later, we definitely can. Yeah.
I just want
Yep.
I knew it wasn't very large and that this
Right.
most of it.
Yep.
So I just
Yep.
we could handle other requests if they came.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So is everybody comfortable?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I had a bike helmet saved my life when I got hit by a car and trapped under a minivan.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
So I'm all for anything like this.
I think it's worth mentioning too that they're partnering with Family Health West on this, so it's
There's also contributing.
yeah.
Yep.
So they've put a lot of effort into making sure that they've got.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
We're super excited because we have free helmets. We will have free flashers. We'll have stickers, t-shirts made. And then so we'll have each booth of bike safety. I think there will be 7 total. And then we'll have a bike rodeo as well. And we'll have some bikes. People can test out if they don't have their own to bring to the rodeo. And then at the end of all of that, if you collect the stamps from everybody and you learned all about bike safety, you get entered for a $100 gift card to a bike shop.
Nice.
And I just remember too about the funding question. I think Planning Commission actually has their own line item as well in community development. That's $500. If I'm remembering correctly.
It's shared between Historic Preservation Board and Planning Commission.
We got 3,000 total. Yes.
That makes more sense.
Yep.
We're going to use it.
All right. What I think you're getting from council is the nod. on that.
Double thumbs up.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. With that, I'd like to bring it back to council for any reports or action items. Anybody want to go first?
Well, I don't have anything. My meetings are all next week. So.
Nice work.
All right. Who else wants to go?
I do have items, but if somebody else is super quick, then
Amy, go.
Go ahead. I attended the groundbreaking for Intermountain Health's primary care. Our mayor did a fantastic job speaking for the city. It was a lovely event. I also later that same day met with the Western Colorado Alliance's Just Housing team. Yes, that was pretty cool. Just talked about housing in Fruita and what we need and what we're seeing. And they were a really neat bunch of folks. I also met with a couple of representatives from Club 20. I think it would really be worth us considering
I talked to
joining. Okay, good.
Club 20.
Yeah, he was one of those that, yeah. So I would like to, I don't know if we need to like workshop that or like what the process would be there, but I think.
So my conversation with Wade, this was, if it was all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, he would like to come in and do a presentation to council on Club 20, what they do. The cost is like $600 a year for that. In my conversations, he said Club 20 has its role and AG&C also has its role. So it wasn't either or, it can be an and.
Yes. Yes. And I appreciated that clarification as well, because I went into it thinking that it would be like a one or the other. Yeah, but I mean, it sounded like a pretty good value and another place at the table that we can have a good voice. So yeah, would love to throw that wherever it will
get that coordinated.
Yeah, awesome. I will be attending the AG&C, speaking of AG&C Economic Development Summit in Rifle tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah, just trying to get as much economic development stuff under my belt as I can. So yeah, Todd was going to join me on that, but he's under the weather. So unfortunately, I won't have my pal. I think that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Aaron?
Just 3 things. Just had a good experience with the roof inspection. Just want to pass that on the building.
Oh, great. Yeah.
I'm getting a new roof right now, and my roofer was super happy to have the inspection come out so quick. And just want to thank the city, what we've done to continue the improvements of the crosswalks there in front of the high school and the middle school. It's so much better when it comes to like communicating, like this is no longer the old sidewalk and it's the new one. And then the schools are utilizing it nicely and effectively. This is fantastic. And then Shannon, can you let us know when they're hanging the banners on the towers? Because that'd be fun to watch. So if you could just let us know when that happens. That's all.
Todd?
I was in Iceland for the last 9 days. So, yeah.
I didn't see any pictures, so no proof.
Yeah, you'll see pictures later. Well, there was no eclipse because we were in a fog bank. The whole Arctic Circle was in a fog bank.
Oh, shucks.
So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Todd. Jared.
Nothing specific to boards and commissions, but the one thing that I did want to bring up and just resurface is we'd had a discussion about doing some sort of dedication or something to the 4 firefighters, and so I didn't want that to drop. So just bringing it back to the surface. I don't know if that needs to be workshopped or discussed or whatever it is, but
Beyond the proclamation.
correct. Yes.
Sure. Right.
A plaque or something was discussed.
Project to assign to Lake Arts and Culture Board.
That's what I was thinking, but just wanted to bring that back up. So it's
If we could even add that next week we'd probably bump up our schedule to like 9 to 9:30 at that final item. But if that would be okay, we could for the workshop. Yeah.
I think it's important to stay on top of it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's all I had.
9:30, meh.
Fair enough. Yes.
Just also jotted it down on our.
As long as we don't bump out Henry's very important presentation.
Yeah.
We could bump him later if not.
We're passionate planning. We need to get shirts. Passionate about planning.
I like it. That's what you could use your funds for.
Right.
It's all coming together.
I want to just touch base about having like that 5:30 time for workshops, like what could have happened today, but we didn't. But if we're going to implement that, as we talked about as our retreat, so we don't have to, so we can dive into some meat of some things that we aren't really able to do currently. That's something that, we all talked about that we were in agreement. Is that, I don't know if that's something that you two wind up figuring.
Yeah, we work on Thursdays. We kind of work through it. And my opinion is like right now, things aren't going too far out. So I think we're okay.
There are things that we haven't really been able to dig into, like our surveys and our assessment and then like make plans around what that information showed us. We talked about what the information showed, but then we haven't been able to really
Do a good follow.
then dive in and like, oh, this is what we are gleaning and want to focus on from these things, like direction given for those things. Yeah. Right. Okay. So those sorts of things, I think we've had several of those that we haven't really been able. That was my recollection of what we talked about at the retreat.
You're not alone.
Yes.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah. And then I've had several people ask me like what the cost of our of the drones were and how it compares to fireworks, and I've tagged some other fellow people up here. We all realized we didn't know.
Yeah, considerably less. So I think the drone show, I will truth this number tomorrow. I think it was around $25,000. Fireworks, we spent about 50. Now, just fireworks alone, 40 of that is about fireworks. But then we, install porta potties throughout Fruita, but also a big portion of it is traffic control and, police as well throughout doing that. So it was with the event, I think with, everything that we did, we tried to, when we canceled fireworks, we tried to spend as much as we can, like on the party to give like a really good experience, but we will still have quite a bit of savings left from the fireworks just because it is much cheaper. Yeah.
The whole event, it was still cheap.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you for that.
All 4,000 people.
Yeah. It's amazing. I know.
Is that the final number, 4,000?
3,500 within the couple blocks at 9 p.m., 9:05. But that was just cell phone data. So yeah, you're probably right. Closer to 4,000. Yep.
And then the Arts and Culture Board, we have met 3 times this month. So we've been very busy. So first meeting was about Chalk the Block, which Shannon covered. But if you do have the opportunity to come down on the 28th, it's from 6 to 8. There'll be live music going on in the fourth Friday portion. And then art happening all the way. I don't know if I've chatted with you guys about this, but it's gonna go into the circle and even down South Mason.
so cool.
So it's gonna be various places. And then the other two gatherings were about the Heart of Fruita. So last week, I sent all of that to you, but the voting process took place on Wednesday, and that all went really smoothly, and the rubric was great, and yeah, it was very similar to how we did the gauge the artists for the banners and all of that. So then we had 17 submissions, selected 9, and then yesterday, Ciara, myself, Carrie, Elliot, and Dory all got together and saw the selections in person. And so that all went well. And then we went and walked the spaces and decided, like, dimension wise, really what would fit where. So
cool.
That has all gone super well.
And there will be conversations with if it's in front of a business.
So there were businesses, yes, but also there were businesses represented and voting at the last week, and a space in the comments if there were certain ones that you would like in front of your space.
Nice.
We're allowed to write there.
Or if there was concerns.
If there were none, but yeah.
Great. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Thanks for sending that packet too. That was really neat to see. Like, we have some incredibly talented.
Super cool. Yeah. And then when we went and looked at the pieces yesterday, of course, the artists have other pieces that they hadn't submitted all around too. So we got to see a whole breadth of
cool
talent that we didn't see just in the submission. So that was really good. And then the installations are, I think, happening September 17th, and then the art walk in early October with the artists walking around and talking about their art, and there'll be food. And
that's a great thing to promote.
Yes, it is. And we're talking about, thank you for mentioning that, because we haven't had great attendance in the past. So we were talking about how to maybe encourage more involvement of our community for that, because it is really cool, and it's really a great way to get to hear the artist's perspective on their pieces, and it's the only time that you get to do that. And so yeah, it's really good. Okay, I think that's it.
I happened to run into a guy by the name of Eric, who was from Michigan but had moved to Japan, who had just come back to the States, and his friend from Grand Junction was showing him Fruita. Because he's looking for a place to move to or possibly start a business. I just happened to run into him at the farm. But they talked about the art, like how cool it was. That was one of the things he mentioned. Couple things on my list. Thank you, former Mayor Lori Buck. I mentioned before the Rural Wisconsin Entrepreneurship Initiative had reached out to us after that conference, wanting to get more information. They asked 7 questions, out of which 3.5 I was wholly unqualified to answer, but Lori helped out. It was just the historical. They came back, they were very grateful. They asked for Lori's headshot, my headshot. I will get with you because they want pictures of the city, like that we want to help promote what we've done, to kind of support it. They were very, very excited, and we'll get a preview of that before it goes live, but we will be featured on that. I went to a dinner on Friday. I don't know what it was called. It was VIP Agro International Dinner. I don't really know what the official title was, but there was Consulate General from Taiwan and Canada were there. Jeff Hurd was there. A bunch of people from the state. They were over on this side of the hill to learn more about our agriculture and what we do over here, and if there's opportunities, which was great. It was an interesting crowd. Learned actually a lot about chamber and liquor laws, so I'll be covering that with them. Some interesting stuff there, that the chamber can have a liquor license and then hold special events, and any member of the chamber that's a business can then actually use their liquor license for the event.
Oh.
So, yes, that was my reaction as well.
The Rotary operates that way right now. Yes.
So, but if you're a chamber member, business, you can do, so it's very, very cool. I also went to the Next Gen Producers event on Saturday. Where clearly I was taking pictures of cows. People were crying. Like,
Good or bad tears?
good tears, like watching these kids, like it's a 2-year program and it was just phenomenal. She will remain anonymous, but was actually upset because they didn't ask her for a heifer. Like it was unbelievable. So kids were amazing. It was a great event and really helping to promote the next generation of farm producers. August 25th, I have a listening session at the incubator with Polis, keeping Colorado competitive. So I'll be attending that. Already talked about AG&C. Unlike Aaron, I'm having not a great time with my contractor on the roof. Still, but just something that's interesting. We had 30 some solar panels that were leaning up against our house. I called Mesa County landfill. I'm like, because do it privately is rather expensive to get rid of them. But just so you know, if you're a home and you have solar panels removed from your house, even if a business does it, those solar panels can go into Mesa County landfill. Will take those. They were phenomenal to work with. Like it was, yeah, it was phenomenal. They were great to work with, just in case anybody runs into a problem, any homeowner runs into a problem with that. Okay, that's it.
Then you're also presenting at Coffee Club.
Oh yeah,
on Friday.
Friday. It's 7 a.m. or 7:30.
It's at
I have it on my calendar.
It's later than that. It's
I was going to say it's not 7:30.
It's not that early. Let me tell you.
Nope.
It is at 9, so you can sleep in, Mayor.
Right.
This better be a good presentation because I'm gonna be there.
All right.
He's going to be auditing your presentation.
Yeah, I will be giving you notes.
There will be. Thanks, Dan. There will be no
feedback.
There will be no spreadsheets. Just to set expectations.
Well, it is a marketing conversation, so I get it.
So,
I'll be there too. So, just in case.
What was that, Todd?
I'll be there also.
Yeah.
Do we need to?
The calendar.
Thank you. All right. That's all I've got. The time is 8:43. Do we want to take a 5-minute recess before we head into executive session? So to make Katie's life easier, why don't we do the motion to move into executive session, get that taken care of, and then we will take a 5-minute recess. Work for you? All right. So with that, we will need a motion to move into executive session.
Mayor, I move to meet in executive session regarding personnel issues under CRS section 246424F for the annual informal review of the city attorney.
Second.
Any questions, comments, or discussions? Katie?
Counselor Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Hansi?
Yes.
Counselor Kumaro?
Yes.
Counselor Prochnow?
Yes.
Counselor Purser?
Yes.
Counselor Parrish?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 6-0.
Great. So the time is 8:44. We'll take a 7-minute recess.
7. I thought it was 5.
7.
No, give me a few
I'm
more
feeling
minutes
good.
because I have to
7.
change. I have to change to a different.
Will there be a different link that Todd will need
Yes.
to use to jump in?
Yeah, so if you can give me a couple more minutes because I have
Todd,
to change links.
I sent you the link already to your
Got
email.
7 minutes.
Yes, I got
And
that.
then, Katie, I will take notes as to what time we go in
Thank
and
you,
go out.
Katie.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll see you guys on the other link.
All right, sounds good.